Hi, it's Madeleine from EarthKandi. Today I'm going to show you how to make this Montpur Glace Sorbet. Somebody asked me how I did it. Can't really see through the packaging so well, but it's kind of it's an icy looking soap. It's got like icy snowflakes and you can't see through the packaging, but it's also got sort of chunks of what look like ice in the middle of it. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. So to start with, you have to do your embeds, and what I used for this were these snowflake cookie cutters, and they're great because you can push them down into the soap and then you can push them out like that and they'll pop out. Now you could use a mould, I suppose, for snowflakes, but the thing about the cookie cutters is that they do tend to have a sharper edge. They kind of look as if they've been cut out, and indeed they have. And it gives it a much sharper, icy look. So there's 3 different sizes. And what I do is I take some melt and pour. Oh God, that's set. Look at that. That's set while I've just been nattering away. So I need to just heat that up for a sec. Right, so there we go. So that's now melted. So into the silicone mould with that. You only want about ½ an inch max. About ½ an inch, that's all. Because if it's any thicker, then it's just going to be too thick to cut. Maybe ¼ of an inch as well. And that's going to set. It's not going to set till it's completely cold. You're going to set it till it's set but still warm and plasticky, and you can pull it out and sort of manipulate it, and it's a bit like plasticine. That's what you need, ideally, to use the cookie cutters on the melt and pour. It's got to be quite warm and pliable, and I'll show you how to do that in a sec. So then you mix your next batch of colour. So what I've done now, instead of the deeper blue, I've put in like an even paler blue. I think the whole success of this soap was the colour scheme. You can see there you've got the darker blue embedded in the paler blue, and you've got different shades of snowflake on there. And then you've got your icy lumps at the bottom. So it's a kind of really realistic looking slice of ice, of glacier, and that comes with the colours. Mixing your colours, getting your colours right, getting your colours as close to nature as possible, you know, and trying to emulate nature as best you can. And I think you sometimes get the best effects if you do that. You can elevate a really mundane sort of style of soap or design of soap through the use of colour, and I think, you know, visually I think the colours are what really sell the soaps, to be honest. I'm not saying that all soaps should be sort of wild and wonderful colours, but you know, some of the best soaps are very plain and they're just white, but sometimes, you know, especially with melt and pour, which has this icy look to it, you can do so much with it. So I'll come back to this in a sec. So, this one's now just about come out of the mould. It's soft, it's bendy, it's warm, but it's set, okay? You take your cutter, I hope you can see this, and you press it in, and it takes some pressing down as well. It's not easy to do. This is why you have to do it when the soap is quite warm and soft. Take it out, and just pop it out like that, and it'll just lift off. And there's your snowflake. And you just repeat that process with all the different sizes. It gets a lot harder as the soap goes cooler. So, you know, that's why I do it while the soap is warm. And don't throw away jagged edges either, because they're going to be like jagged parts of the glacier. So I use those as well. And then you just do the different sizes. You know, you've got a big one here. The bigger they are, the harder they are to sort of press in. If you do have a problem with it, just take it like that and push like that till you get it right the way through, and then just peel the soap off. That works as well. And there's your snowflake. Push it and just peel it off. Well, it'll just come off on its own usually. If it doesn't come off, you can get like a sharp knife and just run it along the edge and it'll pop out. And so you just carry on doing that. oh God, it takes some doing as well. This is why you don't want to have your soap too thick, because originally I did it and the soap was really thick and it was really, really hard to get through. So there you go. And that's what you do, and you do that with all the different colours or the different shades of blue that you're going to pour for your snowflakes. So I've cut out most of my snowflakes, and then what I do with them is I put them into a bowl with some clear frosting glitter and just toss them around in that. Yeah, you have to get your hands in there, and they've got to be coated with this glitter because that's what gives them that really snowy look to them, that sort of ice look. They've got to be coated really well, so you've got to make sure you get every bit of them coated. It's a bit of a messy job. Just rub it in, really give it a good rub in there so it gets done. Don't worry too much if you break off the little arms either, because that makes it look even more realistic. So there you can see that. And they're going to go in as embeds. I'll show you how to do that next. Okay, I'm having a few camera traumas, so just bear with me. So how do I get the icy, glacier look to the soap? What I do is I take clear melt and pour and I cut them into rugged, random chunks like that, put them into my jug. They've got to be kind of a uniform size. This has nothing to do with melting of it, because normally when I melt and pour, I just stick it in one big chunk. I'm not really that bothered. Keep a few to one side, and the other thing that I do is I get my knife for the bigger pieces and I just make a slice in them like that. Don't cut it completely, just sort of mark it and slice it so it looks like it's got like shatters in it, like an iceberg would. And you just do that with them at random, okay? And then you put them in here, and instead of putting colour in it, because I don't want it to be a strong colour, it's got to be a very subtle blue, is I just get pieces of my shards that are left and add that in for the colour, and then I can control the colour. I don't want to put too much in, so I'll probably put just maybe one piece of that and the rest of it quite pale and see what it looks like, and I'll show you that when it's melted. So, it's been in the microwave, and if I hold this up, what's happened is you can see the lumps that I've put in. I've rounded off, and if I hold it up there you can see that it does look like ice cubes, or ice, a little bit like sort of like you see icebergs at the bottom of the sea or floating on the top of the sea. You get the gist of it anyway, so you get that sort of icebergy effect with it. You can make these as big or as large as you like, and I have them quite large. Now you might be thinking, well, there's no fragrance in these lumps, and there isn't. But what I do is I add that little bit extra fragrance into the mix, and it doesn't then matter that the cubes in there don't have any fragrance in them at all. It kind of evens out. Trust me, it still smells just as good. So that's basically how you make your iceberg look. So you can see in there, you've got your ice flow effect, and then you just take your embeds and you place them in. Just let them drop in. Sometimes you've got to wedge them down. You've got to kind of wedge them in between the ice, but they will sort of stick up there. And some of them will float on the surface. If you just plop them in, they'll float. And that's fine too. If you can wedge them in and use your imagination really and your artistic creativity just to sort of put them where you want to put them so that they'll stay. And you just carry on wedging them in like that until you've put them all in. And there's the finished result. So we'll slice that later. And there's the final result. As you can see, you've got your icy bits and your frosty bits. And there it is. You can see those beautiful colours. Let's just take a slice through and have a look. Nice big chunky slice because it's quite a small loaf, this. And there you go. Can you see that? That's how you make the Glace sorbet. It's very simple. It's just the application of your creativity, really, that gives you such a interesting effect. And I'm glad you like it. I'm finding that you have to cut the melt and pour with a knife. It doesn't work with a cheese wire. It's too firm. It's too elastic, and it just doesn't work very well. So at the moment, my favourite cutter is a chopper, Chinese chopping knife or chopper that you get from Chinatown here in Manchester. And I find that works really well. It's got a lot of weight behind it, it's very sharp, and it just slices through melt and pour so easily. It's great, it gives you really good results. And despite the fact that I've got chunks of unperfumed soap in there, that doesn't compromise the smell at all. You can still smell it, it smells great. Because the rest of the perfumed soap is all around it. There you go. That's really pretty. You can really see that the texture's in there. So there you go.